Anti-Semitism is once again on the rise in Europe.
Heavily armed, two men entered the building in the centre of the French capital late this morning and began firing.
Things are unraveling at the seams. It just seems to be getting more and more and more scary and concerning.
What they're describing is a vehicle pulling up in front of the Jewish museum. One or two gunmen opened fire on the crowd.
It's very difficult to be a Jew in Malmö today, or in Sweden, or in Europe. And many Jews, they flew from Malmö because they're afraid.
Hours later, the gunman attacked a synagogue, killing a security guard.
If we don't do something now, people with a different ethnicity, people with a different religion, they won't be having a future in Europe in 10 years.
Anti-Semitism is not just an issue for Jewish groups or Jewish individuals. Anti-Semitism is a human rights threat, a human rights phenomenon, a human rights problem, and it's important, I think, as a predictor of where a society is going.
Now that I walk to a synagogue, I will be very conscious of my environment. You start having a queasy feeling in your stomach when you look around and you realize that, is there potentially something that could happen? Because things have happened.
Jewish kids go to a school where you have video control all over, you have barbed wire, you have heavily armed police forces standing outside.
For me, when I see the rabbi, I see a hero and I see a tough man. When he walk at the streets, they throw stones at him or egg at him and telling that go back, we're gonna send you to the gas can.
As an elected president of the European Union of Jewish Students, it is my duty to also speak up and advocate and address as much as I can this risk and this threat to Jewish life in Europe.
My peers and I today are experiencing threats that, to me, seemed unthinkable to ever reoccur on European soil.
My drive to see a flourishing, dynamic, open, healthy, diverse Jewish life in Europe is the one that drives me to fight anti-Semitism.
It was important to make a statement that we will not tolerate this, that we will stand together against this. I was the initiative maker to the peace ring around the synagogue in Copenhagen. It should not be Muslims doing a peace ring. I wanted it to be Danish citizens doing a peace ring.
I want to stand up for them because they are my brother, sister, and cousins. I'm the founder and chairman of Youth Against Antisemitism and Xenophobia. So we do trips like 3-4 times a year to the concentration camp. When you see what's happening there, you understand what could happen today.
It's really important that the work that these young people are doing, it spreads, fundamentally, and where communities that aren't themselves directly physically affected in the here and now recognize that threats to Jews in their communities are threats to them, and threats to their societies, and threats to liberal democracy.
We have to be together in Europe. We cannot watch and close our eyes.
It's really in our hands that if we mobilize, if we inspire, if we get people active on a specific cause, you can make a lot of impact.
If you have organization like Human Rights First, then you know that you can go longer because they support you, they support your work.
Fundamentally, what's happening in communities is going to dictate whether or not anti-Semitism rises or whether or not it is quashed. So when a group decides to hone in on something like anti-Semitism with all the tools that Human Rights First has brought to bear in a whole series of other human rights crises, people take notice. And they say this isn't something that should be ghettoized over here, this is something that all of us as citizens have a responsibility to combat.
I feel right now we're in such an extreme time, and I really hope that we swing back to Europe where we recognize the values of the communities and peoples living here. In the next couple of years, I'll hopefully have children, and I dream of them growing up as happy, proud Jews, and that they are so confident being a European Jew. They're willing to build bridges and connections and a future for everyone in Europe.